Hi, how are you?
Good. Welcome to the party. Thank you for having internet.
I know that if new roommates moving in and then old roommates moving out, and it's a New York problem, I guess.
Yeah. Is it hard, like doing a lot of editing and photography stuff without internet?
No. I mean, I can just go to the library or like a coffee shop.
Fucking A. Yeah. Thank you for joining me. I know it's 8:30 p.m. over there.
Yes, but it's pretty early, honestly.
Yeah. Do you work another job later at night?
No, I'm kind of like in between. I'm in like job purgatory right now, where like I have
Mm.
my freelancing of photography that I pretty much do full time, but then I am like trying to find another part-time job.
Yeah.
Uh so I when I do have a part-time job, I like to have it from like 9 to 5 or like during the day and then have my nights free so that I can focus on music
For
stuff.
sure. I noticed that too because I work a lot of retail jobs. And it's always like you always make sure you don't get the Friday shift at night. Because if you get that shift, it's like the 5 to 9 or whatever, you can't see anything. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, no, no. Yeah, and like in New York, like shows happen pretty much every night of the week. So it's like, but like Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays are usually slower. But there's been some killer shows on like Monday, Tuesday nights
We're kind of
before.
similar,
So
yeah, in a way. Like we have gigs every day of the week, but that doesn't mean that an audience is going to those shows most of the time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, like New York shows out. Like I remember like touring bands will be like, wow, it's like a Monday and Monday night and y'all are still out,
It sounds amazing. I've
But
never heard anyone speak ill of New York City. I even met these two boys from New York at a rock bar 2 nights ago. And they're these two lads who just go drinking. They have a fan base in New York that pays them to drink a pint every single day. And they donate it to charity. And they even I like
wow.
asked them, I was like, why are you here? You know? Because I'm not the biggest Melbourne advocate myself. And they were like, well, we love New York and New York is the greatest, but we needed a change. And I'm like, look, fair enough.
Yeah, I agree on that.
Yeah.
Like, actually, I was saying this the other day. I was like, yeah, like, where would you move after New York? And someone was like, there's no after New York. Like, there's like, New York will always be home, you know? But yeah, people are like, there's no post New York. There's no like after New York. New York always kind of feels like home, especially once you've lived here, unless you just had a really shite time here and like
Mm.
could not make it, and it's not for you, but
That's awesome. I have been to New York. I just can't remember anything about it except for like a library and like a bagel shop for some
yeah,
reason.
what you were like a little kid, right?
I guess depending on who, yeah, I mean I think I was 16 or 17 when I went. And I remember I was so excited because like I'm a big Americana, like fanatic. Like I love all things America, which sets me apart from a lot of Australians. I
I
love
love all
the
things.
culture. I think we're all in debt to what not politically, but culturally a lot of the stuff that America has done. So
Yeah, I mean, I love all things Australian, so
yeah, have you actually been here before?
no, I haven't. I just stay really connected. I feel like when people are like, "Why do you like Australia so much?" and like, I don't know, like I just have always really got on with Australians and like just like the culture, and I think like it really, I mean, more so King Gizzard coming into my life in
Well,
like
yeah.
2014, like that was a biggest obsession for a while.
Hmm.
Um, but like I remember this one time I was working at a retail store and I did like a palm reading on myself. And then there was like one of them was like a line of like places you'll visit or go to. And one of them was Australia. And I was like, that's freaky. I was like, and that was like 6 years ago. So yeah, I don't know. And
Who
then
do you?
like over through all of music stuff, like I've just become really good friends with people from Australia, like
Yeah.
Sydney and Tasmania and like Melbourne.
So like
Um,
if you had to name a few different bands from here that you like, would you have any off the top of your head?
Yes. So there's TV Repairman,
Oh
and
yeah.
then 1-800 Mikey.
So you like the Sydney egg punk scene.
I mean, I just love egg punk, but
Yeah, of course.
yeah,
I mean, you've photographed Snooper, and I would say
yes,
that they're the king of egg punk, really. I mean, there's like the first generation of it, which would be like, I can't even fucking remember what they're called. Like Coneheads, I think, and that was like the OG. I mean, you could argue that Devo was the OG, but yeah,
yeah.
you've got the Coneheads, and then every band who's ever wanted to be like the Coneheads, and you know, some bands have done their own thing, and Snooper's definitely one of those bands.
Yeah, Snooper's very like, I feel like, I mean, as people, they're all sweethearts, and then Blair, like, she's the main, I think, I want to say, in my opinion, like the main power head. Like Connor is great, and like
Mm.
obviously there's a part of it, but like Blair's and like her creativity is
Yeah.
just like so on point with Snooper. I think
It
so.
shows, yeah. I've seen their shows, I've seen their energy, the puppets as well. The fact that they have like kids shows too, you know, like I just really
Yeah.
yeah. And I feel like they all work like day jobs too and they still make it happen. So it's
Yeah. Blair's in she was a preschool art teacher.
yeah.
I think she like stopped that recently, if I remember. But shouts
Damn.
out Blair. Shouts out
Yeah.
Blair.
Shout out to the kids. What are they gonna do without them? Like
Yeah.
that's awesome though. So in terms of your work though, do you feel that you have to enjoy the music of the artist to take like a good photo of them?
Um, not particularly, no. Like I can sometimes get hired from a band or a gig and like be like, oh, okay, like like I feel like I always have an optimistic way of like looking at it and shooting, and just trying to put my best foot forward with it. But I do know when I do like get really excited and amped and like I'm very passionate about a band's music and like how I feel about the people in it and like how much care. I mean, I have care throughout whenever I shoot, but if I have like a lot of care and passion for the band and like especially for the music and like I'm really hyped on it, then it makes a difference because then I get into like adrenaline and then
Yeah.
I'm like I'm just like just as in the moment as they are, you
Yeah,
know?
that would be a cool kind of flow state that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So that's yeah, that happens to me a lot on stage. It's harder to get to that state the more that I don't know if that's like a chemical thing, you know, where like the more you do something or the harder it is to do something, the harder it is to get that feeling, you know, because you always want more and more and more. But I remember last year, I think the year before, I was really sick with COVID, so I was leaving the venue. But I remember Limp Bizkit came on, and I remember it was their return show. I had not felt that level of adrenaline. Like part of me just wanted to fucking run back into that bit because it was just insane, and it's a rare-ish kind of feeling. I'd like to think that a lot of people feel it at our shows, though, you know, as well. But
Yeah, I'm sure. Like if you get the people dancing, there's adrenaline there.
they're feeling something.
They're feeling something, I guess.
It's cool
Um,
because a lot of the bands you photographed are some of my favorite bands too. Like I mean, they don't really talk about this band enough here, but Crack Cloud is amazing.
oh,
They're one of my favorite bands ever.
me too.
In my opinion, their ideology and how they go about things is just so perfect. And I wish it was easier to implement that kind of model of a bunch of creatives coming together, you know, to make something for the good of that project, which seems like because that's like
Yeah.
I don't know how many people are in that band, but
From what I know and knowing some of them personally, um, like there's a core few, which is like Zach Choi and then Aleem and the other guitarist. I can't Alex, I think his name is.
yeah,
But there's like a core and then there's like throughout the years, like from the beginning, the first LP to like where they are now, like it's just been like very much a collective and like a community that
yeah,
like comes in and out. Um, and yeah, like a Crack Cloud, I say like Cut and Dry like is one of the best bands I have ever seen live, and there's only like a handful that make me feel that way.
Hmm.
Like where I can just see them over and over and over and over again, and it's kind of just like so emotional and almost like the first time I've seen them, you
They're
know?
great, man. I heard them. Obviously, I've never seen them live. I don't think they've ever played in Australia, but I was in a bar maybe 2 years ago because their kind of model is very close to what I wanted Dole to be. Even though for some fucking reason it's always band, band, band. But I wanted that loose creative flow state. I've tried to achieve it. It's not easy to achieve. And that whole like sound as well. I'm trying to think of the song. It just played in a bar once, and when I heard it, I turned around, I looked at the speaker, and I looked at my friends. I'm like, this kind of sounds like us in a way. Like this sounds like not in like a sonic way, but this sounds like a band with a similar set of ideals, and ethos and
Yeah.
stuff. And so when I looked them up, I was like, what are they? But yeah, they're great. But I mean, you've also shot a lot of bands not from the US. Like I've seen you photograph dry cleaning as well.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Incredible as well. Like they're one of the fucking best too.
Oh, I know. I know. Like that was my first time seeing them when I shot them at that show at uh Bowery Ballroom.
Mm.
And people like love to dig on them and be like, "Ugh, it's just talking and like it's so like why would you ever like that? Like it's so boring." And I'm like, I like had those like thoughts in my head when I went to go see them live, and then like honestly I was so blown away by
Yeah, it's
the
amazing.
whole show. And I like again like when I get so inspired and I'm like, oh my god, I like it. I just do get into this flow state of just like bop 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 and like like God, what's her name? The singer again?
Uh,
I should know. I'm like so bad at names, but
I'd edit it in
um
post, but I'm too lazy. So yeah.
well, the singer from Dry Cleaning, she when I saw her live, she was just so like statuesque and like enigmatic and so like just fucking badass. Like it was so much fun to capture like all her little intricacies, and that's kind of why like in that post and in those pictures I focused on her hands.
Mm.
Like because I just thought she was so cool with her hand, like her
Well, the
movement with
hands are
her
really
hands.
expressive, and a lot of
Yeah.
cultures use hands as a sign of, I guess, like an extension of their dialogue. I mean, I do it I'm doing it right now. But I'm Argentinian. I feel like, yeah, I don't know why someone from the UK. I mean, I guess people from the UK probably do it too. I know Italians get it a lot. It's like a meme.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but that's really cool. I feel like all these bands that we've discussed, especially the last two, have a lot in common. In the same way that like a lot of bands draw from Devo and all that kind of chain punk, egg punk kind of stuff. There's also are you familiar with the band back in the day, Suburban Lawns?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like so much
Yes.
of the culture now is just taken from this one band that I don't think anyone gave a shit about when they were around. Like I think it was like 80s, 1981.
I if I recall, I think Suburban Lawns played a showcase at South by Southwest that I was
What?
at. Yeah, like the band that I was with, and I'm homies with who played before Suburban Lawns, which by the way, Yahweh Nailgun was supposed to play before Suburban Lawns, but
Ah.
they had to switch with the band that I was with for showcase reasons. But um I was just like, aren't they like, and they were like all older, so I was like, aren't they like mega? Like why are they playing South by Southwest?
Yeah, like they
Like I
literally, if it wasn't for them, I don't think we'd get any of the music that we get now. They're probably one of the most underrated bands in history, honestly.
no,
You
yeah,
listen to
for
their
sure.
music, it's like I probably put them and the Screamers, as like the two bands that I think define the next 50 years of music. The Screamers is literally like if you listen to any and they never release an album, famously, like they only have live recordings. But any of their songs that you see on YouTube, like they could have been made now. or in 10 years from now, you know? That's how ahead of the time they were.
Yeah.
But that's awesome though.
And what is it? Silver Jews.
Oh, of course. Yeah, nobody fucking
Yeah.
talks about that band.
Yeah, no. And what is it, not golden apples, it's silver
Silver Apples.
apples.
Silver Apples, yeah.
But
Yeah,
the
same deal.
yeah, there's a band actually playing at TVI next month called Golden Apples, and I was just like I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I
I
wonder what they sound
wonder
like.
I wonder how many of these people are directly aware of their influences and how many of these people like just have absorbed that sound through the culture, you know? Like
Yeah.
that's yeah, I guess you'd have to ask him personally. I always think people need to do like some due diligence when it comes to being in a band. I feel like you have to research. I think people don't want to because they want everything to be fresh and new. But I think the only way to
I
fresh
know.
and new is to, you know, look up some biographies and go to and do some scholarly work. It's not very punk rock, but in a way, it actually.
Nah, it's definitely punk rock to be knowledgeable.
Yeah, and I mean,
Knowledge is power.
a lot of your work has a really cool kind of glam chic to it as well. And I think, I mean, I feel like you definitely know a lot
You
about
think so?
music
That's crazy.
and music history. Yeah, for sure. Like I was even looking at it today because I wrote a lot of the points that I have down, you know, when we were going to do the interview last. And I always have to recheck, you know, because I don't know where my mind's at, you know, when I write these things. And I was like, was that correct? Glam? And I look back and I'm like, there's a real, yeah, 70s, 80s kind of aesthetic to it that is like really cool and really unique. And so I feel like you would have
Oh,
to know a lot of, especially being an NYC, being a photographer in NYC, like you would have to know the roots, right, of what came before because you're documenting these bands now. And so,
oh yeah. I mean, initially when I've been, I just have, and I've always had, and why I started, like, because I just have such a deep love for documenting and like really capturing people for who they are and like what they're doing and what is happening. Like,
mm,
um, and yeah, I mean, as I've grown older and doing this, like, I'm just like obsessed with like, photos from the past, like of musicians at their like most clustered state when they were just starting, or like, I don't know. It's just really beautiful to me, and it like what keeps me going from, because sometimes I just get so down and I'm like, why do I do this? I'm like,
mhm,
like as every
mhm.
artist does,
Every
and
fucking day of my life.
and I'm like, oh my God, and then I'm just like, no, like I need to let it go. Like I do this because I love to, and like I really believe in people and like capturing them and like their art and what that means to me.
Mm,
And like I guess like storytelling in a way, or like translating how I feel about the band too, like I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah, like your
Um
own internal kind of bias about them will show, right? You choose the way they're edited. There was this whole thing about Diane Arbus, and it was a piece. I think it was a Susan Sontag. I think it's in a Susan Sontag book that I might even have here. But she's speaking about Diane, and saying that like even though she went out to capture these people that she selected to capture from a non-biased, like fly on the wall type thing. The fact that she selected these people in the first place was already inherent to her own bias, and how the
oh yeah.
photographer can't really separate themselves. I feel like unless it's like CCTV, I think it's impossible. It's impossible not to give it, some part of your personality inherently, which is really, really cool. But
Yeah.
I also like what you said before about capturing someone's essence. Sometimes I use the word primal. Sometimes that's not really the best word. It depends on what kind of a show. If it's an aggressive punk show, then I would think that word's appropriate. But have you ever taken a photo of somebody and really believed that you've captured them at their most raw, and have captured their essence in that moment and shown them and had them reject their own essence? Has anyone ever seen themselves for what they are and had a fit about it, or not liked that? You don't have to name names, obviously.
Um, Honestly, no. I
That's cool.
mean, there's only been like one photo shoot that I can recall where it was kind of like difficult, but this was for like a press thing, so it wasn't like live.
Mm.
Um, but there was one photo shoot where I'm like, it was kind of difficult to like make them happy. Um, but I took that more as a like I didn't take it personal. Like I was just like I just don't I don't know. I try my best during photo shoots to make people feel like really comfortable and relaxed and like feel really good. And like I do this thing where I'll like, show them like what I've taken and like see how they feel and then like work
Mm.
on it with them, during the photo shoot. So, but yeah, no, most of the time, like people are like, whoa, like that's like my most favorite photo like ever.
That's an amazing reaction.
So why I love King Gizzard so much is because their ethos and like model of pretty much how they function as a band and everything like is so inspiring and like so for the people. And
Yeah.
I love how like they put out Polygon Wonderland and it was just like, yeah, download it, do whatever you want with it, it's yours. Like make any because that's so true. Like art is for like everyone and should be free and sorry, I'm about to get to in like a rant,
No,
but
do it, please. We love that shit.
no,
Gives me
yeah,
more
like
time to
art.
drink my smoothie.
Yeah, art is free and should be free and like everyone should be able to like have their own interpretation of something. Um, so I love King Gizzard for that and their ethos and model
Their
of
model is
music.
incredible, and their model isn't. It's so the reason that it's so difficult to emulate is because it requires how many is in that band? It requires what, like seven, eight people to all be on the same page. And what that means is like it requires six or seven people to devote their lives to a singular cause. And that is almost impossible. I've been trying to do stuff like that with other people for 9 years, 8 years. I've never seen it happen. I can't think of any other band that does that. I think a lot of people are very like shocked by how much output they have, but it makes sense because they are truly living and they're really practicing what they preach. Like they live that lifestyle,
Yeah.
do work all day. Their work is music. They all take it seriously, and there's nobody fucking around. And I mean, obviously they've dropped members and stuff. I know, like the whole Flightless records
Yeah,
thing as
Eric.
well,
Yeah.
which is really interesting. I won't do it. I won't talk about it on the potty. I don't want to get sued. But yeah, like it's incredible to see people really like devote themselves to their causes, and the world would be a better place if more bands did that. And it's weird that we don't. Like I think a lot of people still think that we're operating under
Well,
a
well,
different
it's
model.
just like no, yeah, like it's. I mean, I hate to say it, but like I mean, every country is different, and like what they fund towards bands being able to like actually fund themselves and like um be able to I don't know create a model that works for them and like that they believe in. Um, but like I don't know the details of how King Gizzard like started and like I mean obviously they started just by like doing what a usual band does and then got to that point where they could have authority on like this is how we want to handle things, we want to have our own label, we want to put our friends on, like we want to distribute ourselves like my point with that is just like I wish our governments and like countries were able to like fund so bands felt like they could do that more often
Mm.
and like tour and not feel so like um what's the word imprisoned like they can't do like or just any artist like can't do what they believe in or like would like to have the space to create, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
I
it's
feel
one of
like
the saddest things to see. Getting older is I mean, to some people it's beautiful, to some people it's sad. I think it's sad. I'm a very nostalgic guy. Definitely in my sad boy era, and I think about I'm 29 now, and I think about a lot of people who are my
Oh,
age.
I'm 29
Well,
too.
oh, congratulations, we both made it. We 27 club. Right. They probably need to do a new statistic as to what the new club is.
I
Probably
know, right?
31. Um, but I feel like, like we're still pursuing these passions. At our age, we're more burnt out than somebody in their early 20s. We've seen maybe more shit. We've definitely probably struggled. We've faced more struggles in getting our out there and actually being able to even practice our art because
Yeah.
with the responsibilities of work and having to figure out ways to survive, it doesn't leave a whole lot of room in your head to create. And yeah, it is. It's interesting how a lot of entities don't necessarily care about that. And I've seen so many friends stop playing music, stop making art, or if they do, they only do it as like a hobby. And I'm at a point where I'm jealous of them for being able to have hobbies. Because all of my hobbies I've tried to not capitalize, but I've tried to maximize, and that has led to a lot of
Hmm.
burnout and confusion. And I think that it's like one of those things where I don't know, like I don't think I don't think a hobby is always. I've changed my mind about this a lot, but I don't think a hobby is always the best way to explore yourself in an art form because a hobby is something you pick up and do when you feel like it. But if I'm talking about like real spiritual evolution and growth of character, you kind of need to devote a lot more time to a specific medium to see yourself evolve in that medium. And if we don't have
Yeah, I agree.
the systems in place to do that, then a lot of people are probably going to go into adulthood and fatherhood and, like anything. Like people are going to age out of their dreams and out of their passions. And as a result, maybe they're just going to end up being shells of themselves. And there's going to be a part of themselves that they're never going to explore. And that's really scary. Yeah, that's a pretty fucking terrifying thing. And it's an obvious thing to say, but a lot of people aren't really saying it because I don't know, like I said before, people are under the illusion that there's this model that we can follow online that's going to help us make it. But real change comes from a different place, I think. It doesn't come from Instagram. It doesn't come from how well your post
No.
performs. It comes from finding people in your like-minded people in your community who assist you and you assist them, and it creates a sort of microcosm. And then once you have that, not gatekeeping that microcosm so that new people because I think Australians are really good at creating, like we've spoken about a few different scenes. I won't name drop specific scenes because sometimes people come on the show. So what I say is that like a lot of people have built these incredible little scenes, but they don't they're not interested in allowing new people. And they've said it to me like pretty bluntly that they only play with their friends. And I'm like, well, don't you want to make new friends? Doesn't it get a little bit boring, going to the same pub with the
Yeah.
same people or touring in the same van with the same bands? That is like probably one of the biggest. There's bigger problems in terms of how Australian bands and the Australian music scene operates, but in terms of like the internal problems, that's a huge one because we have control over our community. And if we don't allow new people in, then like at a Doll show, you could never have heard Doll Manchild before. But if you want to get on that stage, the microphone's yours, the stage is yours. I don't give a fuck. And I make it very clear. It's very turnstile in that regard and an old hardcore where it's like my stage is your
Yeah.
stage. Anyway,
That's so interesting. I mean, like, y'all are so on the other end of the world. Like, don't you want to all be friends?
we're not all friends. And the key to healing is to understand that. And a lot of people don't want to discuss it because they're scared of losing opportunities, but those opportunities don't exist. I'm somebody who's been in the
Yeah.
scene for 9 years. The bands who weren't allowing me into their scenes and their cliques at the start continue to not allow me now as I turn 30 in a different project. You know what I mean? it's not about the way you sound. It doesn't matter the way you look. It actually has nothing to do with it. It just has to do with whether or not you are friends with that person from an early age. And unfortunately, for a lot of us, we can't teleport ourselves into those scenarios because we weren't in the same primary school, when we were 8. So now I can't share the same stage with you at 28,
That's
So
crazy.
it's I get a feeling that's maybe a little bit different in New York. I get a feeling that's a little bit
Yeah.
more open, and I really long for that. I really yearn for that. Because I feel like I've done.
Yeah, no. Yeah, everyone in New York is pretty down to play with each other. I would say like everyone's pretty collaborative, like everyone kind of wants to know what you're doing, like or what's happening. And like I mean, of course we do have our fair share of like group like I don't even want to say clicks, but like there's just like like friends who do prefer to play with each other and play shows regularly with each other. But I would say for the most part, like New York, you can play like with anyone and everyone's most of the time really down and like really good community of
Man,
like,
I'd love to go there and experience that. I don't know how. I think the only way I'd be able to do it I mean, it's weird because I've got family who live in Washington, but I don't have an American visa. And I think you need an American visa. You don't need one to play. You need one to get paid. But I think like, it's always been my dream. That's why I said to you that I'm trying to go like either this year or next year just for a little bit, but to like link up with other musos and have them play, with you while you're there for free, in case the ATO listens to this show, in case the tax man is tuning in like for free, not making a cent. But just to have that experience because I've always felt with a lot of the stuff I do that it's just about finding the right audience. I think a lot of creatives are in the same boat. And I really believe that you can cultivate something really good. Like the stuff I do is definitely a product of the stuff that's around me, whether I like it or don't like it or both. But at a certain point, you have to take that somewhere else. You have to take that chance. And if it's for free, it's for
yeah,
free. But I think that
that's
people
such a
need
good
to
way of
stay.
putting it.
Yeah. It's probably the same, if you're a New York band and you want to see how Europe responds to your music, which a lot of people do, obviously. I mean, it's like I mean, most Australian bands don't tour America because it costs, I think I heard it was $10,000 for the application process just to apply for the grant, you know? Not for the grant, sorry, for the visa. So I think you have to be at a certain level. Like, man, I ain't even got $20. So you gotta really
Yeah.
plan for that. And so the bands
Yeah.
that are able to do that. There's a whole nother like touring circuit that is also difficult to intercept, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. Yeah. And is that current? Like the current price, like with Trump and all this and
Oh
all
man,
the
I actually that's pre-Trump from what I researched.
yeah, so
He's probably fucking quadrupled it.
Jack yeah.
How long has he
Because
got left?
2 years or a year? I don't
All right,
know.
I guess third time's the charm. I can always play over there when I'm 34. That's awesome,
Why
man.
not? 30s are the new 20s, so technically it
They
would be
have to be
20.
because they have to be. They literally, there's no other way. They have to be. We don't have another choice. I like that though. I like that. That definitely gets me feeling excited about my 30s because yeah, 20s were pretty good. 20s could have been the new 20s, but COVID stopped that from happening. I think there was just
Yeah,
something about it. I'm kind of coming out of all that now. It took me like because we had a really bad lockdown here, like really bad for 2 years. So I would actually, to be honest, if it wasn't for that lockdown, I probably wouldn't have the band I'm in now. But if that's a good thing or not, that's up to the people to decide. That's me to say. But that's cool. Who would be your dream band to photograph?
um Radiohead.
You reckon?
Also, yeah. Or I mean, and like honestly, just because this is something that's coming up like in the next couple days, Oasis. Oasis
Yeah.
is playing MetLife in New Jersey August 31st and September 1st. and I don't have a ticket, and I've been kind of like throwing a fit about it. I'm like, how? No, yeah, that would be really, really, really sick. Like Oasis and yeah, Radiohead too. Although like like Tom has been
He's
on his
been a
little
bit of
more
a bit of a
a,
kooky boy.
a kind of a little cuck.
He's definitely I
Wait,
don't
can I
know
say
why he needs to make
um
himself unlikable
a
because
moral cuck? I'm gonna say like just a
yeah,
little baby. Like
it's a shame because you never would have expected it from him. But that's what we get. But what would be
yeah.
besides the fact that he is a little cuck at the moment? What would be your Radiohead tier list? I'd love to hear you go from like your least favorite to your favorites. You can always change your mind, but I won't re-edit it.
Um. Oh my God. Okay. So I would say one in Rainbows.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
I literally tell all my closest friends like if I have a funeral or celebration of life, like play that album.
Yeah, it's one of the
um,
best albums of all time.
yeah. So in Rainbows one, two, I kind of want to say Tree Finger or King of the Limbs. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say
Um,
what deep cut is that?
Tree Fingers is on that album.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, but and then three, and then
You don't want to say the Bends?
I do love the Bends.
The
I love
Bends in the
all of it.
album like got me into rock, basically. It was like the gateway album for me. Like the song Just. Like I remember somebody played that to me when I was 20. I think when I was 20, and it blew my
Oh my
mind.
God. I think I saw the music. I did see the music video. I was watching Radiohead music videos like while I was editing
Mm.
photos. And Just I think was the one where it's a man like lying down
Yeah, he
on
doesn't
the
want to get up. Yeah.
yeah. I
That's a
had
sick
never
video.
seen
I had the fucking I didn't know that video and I had the same concept for a video of our own a long time ago. And I got so pissed off when I saw that video did it.
yeah, I was like, oh my God. Um, and then he tells the secret and then they all just lie down. And I'm like, that is so funny. Like
Do you get a lot of your inspiration from other mediums besides photography?
Yeah, I would say I'm really into medieval art, uh, and medieval stuff. So a lot of my algorithm just has like medieval stuff pop up and like paintings, um, and illuminations too. Like I really like how bold. Like a lot of people say with my photos, like they're really colorful and etc. So I feel like I resonate a lot with like illuminations from medieval times because they're so colorful and opaque and like
Hmm.
but also light and pretty.
Yeah,
um
I can definitely see that in your work for sure.
but yeah, I can just look at medieval art. I went to school for fine arts, so art history is like really important
Hmm.
and inspiring whenever I go to the museum or something. And then also like music videos. I like to have a lot of old magazine covers. Like I have the Rolling Stones, like a hundred covers, like
Yeah.
from like when they started to I think more present day. So I like to like look through all those things and then I tend to like read a lot of autobiographies and memoirs.
No,
I just
same here.
yeah, so I find a lot of inspirations like reading and through just art and also music videos. Um, yeah.
That's cool though. So you went to uni. Which uni did you go to?
So I lived in Tennessee, East Tennessee for from being a freshman in high school until I graduated high school and then I went to college for 2 years, or uni, for fine arts and studio arts. So, but I didn't study photography formally. I went to go just be an artist really, and then like a focus with ceramics. So that's where a lot of like my ceramic art comes from, because I thought I went to school thinking I was going to be a ceramicist really, and then I got out of school and stopped going, and then as soon as I got out of uni college, I started doing music photography. Like it was like a month later.
It's like that though. I also went to uni to do, I mean, initially I went to do fine arts, did that for 2 years, to learn how to paint. Didn't learn how to paint there, became like a like an illustrator. And then I ended up being like graduating with filmmaking some fucking how, majoring in sound design. But I think a lot of I share a lot of the same kind of influences that you have, especially music videos and magazines as well is like a really underrated art form. The
Yeah.
stuff I've seen you do ceramic prints now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that a new, like, has that ever really been done before? I've never seen anybody, like, how does that work? Talk me through it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know of anyone who has ever made a ceramic print, um, in terms of like a photo, like, like a regular print, like in a photo being used, like that in the way that I'm doing. I would love for anyone to like show me anyone that has, because that would be really cool to bond over. But
Sounds like a challenge.
yeah, but most of the time, like, yeah. So the process with that is like I started working at a ceramic studio like over a year ago, like, and I was kind of in a funk with my photography, and I was like not shooting as much that year, and but still shooting here and there, and like I really delved deep getting back into ceramics because I hadn't like touched it in a while. And working at this studio, they had this process called decals, and they use like this special printer at this ceramic studio that uses like a ceramic ink, like a glaze ink, which glaze is what you use to paint or decorate. I use paint, but it's not like glaze is not like paint. It's um, yeah, to like decorate ceramics and stuff like that. So it's a special printer. What I would do is put my photos on a Word document, like letter size, and then email it to them so that they could print it with this printer. And then I'd get it, and it's like this whole special thing. But the way I like to like put it in simple terms, it's like basically like a temporary tattoo for like the process of it is a temporary tattoo for ceramics, because you have to cut it out and in whatever shape you want, or just how the picture looks, and then put it in water, let it sit in the water. And then you can like peel it off of the paper, and then like and put it on the ceramic white stoneware or whatever kind of clay body you ended up using. So yeah, I have a video of it, of me like doing the process. And then you just make sure it doesn't have any air bubbles, and then you put it in for a special type of firing, which is called decal firing, and that studio does it. And it's at a very low firing, and yeah, and then it permanently like fires the image onto the ceramic piece. But the image, like, that's the last step in like doing the ceramic prints. Like when I'm designing a ceramic print, it's obviously like I have to cut and shape and mold the clay and then put that in for firing, for bisque ware firing, and then that gets fired. It's hard. And then glazing and decorating and designing, and then firing again, glaze firing, and then the last final piece would be putting the ceramic print onto the final piece and then firing it again. So it's like a lengthy process.
Yeah, how long does the process go for?
I honestly would give it like realistically like a month, like 3 weeks to a month.
So you do,
or 2 weeks,
yeah,
depending on how quick you work. But
and that's for one piece, right?
no, you could do several at a time.
That's awesome. Like,
But
yeah, I remember
yeah,
seeing you do that. I spoke to John about it, and I was like, "Has this ever happened before? I've never seen anyone do this," which is really, really cool.
yeah, I really had like an epiphany with it. Kind of similarly, like when I started music photography in 2018, it was an epiphany for me to be like, whoa, like I can actually have a career in music that also uses like my eye for like visual art and like composing and like documenting and traveling and like meeting people. Like it just really made so much sense to me as a person. And then years later, moving to New York for 2 years and then eventually kind of feeling like burnout of like hustling, I was just like, I need to get back to like basics in a way, or like ceramics. And then I ended up getting a job at a ceramic studio. And
Oh, wow.
that technique that I had never heard of before, I was like, whoa, like that was my first thought. I was like, I would love to just like make something that can last forever. That's also like speaks to me as a person and like my past and what I went to school for, and like means a lot to me on its own. Like clay, like how I feel about ceramics, I I feel so passionately about, separate from music photography. So combining both of them was like, whoa, this is awesome.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
this is very sick.
I've seen that you also do interviews as well. Have you interviewed some people?
Uh,
I swear I
um,
read somewhere like you had like an article with a photography piece as well that accompanied the photo. Am I tripping?
um, I have done interviews where, um, like I guess magazines have interviewed me.
All right.
But I wouldn't be opposed to interviewing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's not for everybody.
No, yeah. Um, I feel like I'd rather be on the other end. I feel like I'd rather be asking the questions than answering.
Yeah. I think honestly I enjoy asking people more than answering because I feel like with my own stuff, like I feel like a lot of people don't want to talk to other artists in general, and at least here. And so I'm a very like I think the word is inquisitive person, and I got bored speaking about myself pretty
Yeah,
early on last year. I got tired because I would be on the other end of it, and I don't know. I had nothing else to say, you know. I prefer bouncing off of other people and not being the person interviewed, which is very hypocritical of me given this particular circumstance. But yeah,
yeah, you're really good at it.
thank you. Well, cool. Yeah, thank you, Nicole, for chatting to me.
Thank
The
you so much.
the only thing I'd ask of you is if you could give me a piece of advice for an upcoming creative or photographer.
In terms of like how I started, is just if you feel like it calls to you and like works for who you are and like your message and like what you're trying to put out, even if you're not sure what that is yet, like just go with your intuition and feel it out. Cause like when images that I did when I started out, I feel like they have like the little cell of like where I am now,
Mm.
but I was a completely different photographer then than I am now, even though my how I feel why I started still remains the same. So it's like I feel like just do it because you really feel like intuitively like this is what you love, this is what you do, and you're not going to let anyone stop you. Um, and that was honestly my main thing with being called Neptune was I don't know where in my brain like I was like so clever, but I was just like, how am I going to get people to remember me? Like, how am I going to get people to be like, oh, like, whoa, like, and I was just like, I do like love astrology very much. So um where it derives from and why I call myself Neptune is because I love what Neptune represents in astrology. So I just started calling myself Neptune, and people were like, "Oh my God, like yeah, like I'll never forget that." You know? So that's also a good piece of advice, is to like kind of just remember and like think about ways to get people not to forget who you are.
That's actually
Whether that's like a brand or just like how you make people feel, because no one will ever forget how you make them feel.
damn. That went. You hit us with three words of wisdom. Yeah, I never see. I think that's how you know the name is so effective. Is that I never. Obviously, I wondered whether to call you Neptune or Nicole, but yeah, when I think of
Lots of
your
people do.
account and I think of your Instagram, I wonder if it had just been called Nicole, whether I would have remembered it the same way. And I don't think that would have been the case. I mean, mine's called Milkman, you know? And so
Yeah.
like yeah, even now, like with releasing, I'm trying to release like I don't really know how to describe it. It's like a very Voidsy, Casablanca-y R&B, Justin Timberlake-y project. And even then, people are saying, "Oh, use your real name." And my full name is Dan Blitzman, so it's a pretty iconic name. But
Yeah.
there's a part of me that's like, well, I don't know. That's the name that I was given. That's an actual name. I use it for actual name stuff, and if I use that name on a Spotify for a particular outlet of myself with music, which is so schizophrenic and divisive in terms of what styles I choose, then I would have to be that person, you know? Whereas if there's another name for it on top of that, then that nickname that you give yourself for your different projects, it allows you to be that person, you know? So as long as somebody's
Yeah.
okay with dividing their personality into little boxes, then that's also probably worth doing. Yeah, names are powerful, and you don't always have to go with the ones that you were given.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You can always give yourself a name that feels aligned with who you are or know yourself to be. So,
Damn.
yeah.
Thank you, Neptune. And yeah,
Thank
enjoy
you.
enjoy the rest of your night.
Yeah, enjoy your day.
Catch you around. See ya.
Catch you. Bye.